Hi, this is Visitor's Book and I'm Maya, your host. In this program, we're going to be meeting with diplomats and foreigners who live here in Pakistan, and we're going to find out what they really think about the country. So our guest today is Sophia Arandia, a consultant at TLC Preschool. So let's go meet with her. Hi Sophia, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. So nice to see you here today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So you mentioned that this Saidpur village is one of your favorite places here. How come?
Because it reminds me of the structures in Lahore. Because this is more of like a
True.
village atmosphere.
Exactly.
And you to find that within the city is actually great. So yes, this is my favorite spot.
Yeah, I mean, because you know, Islamabad doesn't have many places that are like traditional and
It's more modern, I think.
Yeah. So here you get a little bit of that.
It's like going to Lahore, but it's just like 5-10 minutes away.
Exactly. Okay, so you've been living here in Islamabad since 6-7 years, you mentioned.
Yes.
But you actually grew up in Germany.
Yes,
and
correct.
your roots are in the Philippines.
Yes.
So how did that whole thing happen?
People are always asking me, where do you belong? So basically I call myself a third culture generation.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
I get confused where is home, but I was born in the Philippines, and when I was 6, I moved to Germany.
On your own or with your family?
With my family.
Okay.
And with my sisters. And then I was speaking in Tagalog then. Then I had to learn German.
Right.
Then I had to learn English when my family decided to move here in Pakistan.
Oh, so your family is here as well. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But so you've you lived for a while in the Philippines. Do you still feel like a connection to the country?
No,
Do you?
actually, it's funny because when I come to Pakistan, I feel like I belong here. But when I go back home in Manila, I feel like an alien. Like I don't belong there. I cannot connect because I left so early. I was like 6.
Yeah. So you don't have a lot of memories probably from there. Do you still go regularly though?
I visit maybe once every year.
Okay, so that's quite a bit. Yeah. Do you still have family there?
I think just my mom's elder sister.
Okay.
Other than that, they're all over the world.
Right.
They're like spread all over.
Yeah.
So like, I am here in Pakistan right now.
Yeah.
With my family.
Okay, that's so interesting. So what made your family move to Germany? Did your like father or mom move there because of work or what was it?
My mom decided to move there and set up her own business.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we had a horseback riding business.
No way,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
It's actually true. So I was one of those kids growing up learning how to ride a horse through lessons. So every Sunday we would go to the barn and then study how to ride horses on our own, because in Germany it's very, very common.
Yeah.
So everybody has a horse in their backyard.
Seriously?
Yeah. So my mom moved there and she had her business. And my mom and my dad divorced when I was young, so that's why we moved there.
All right. And where in Germany did you
Hamburg.
live? Okay, all right. And how was that whole experience? Like, I mean, how long did it take for you to learn the language and get settled in a new country?
My mother hired a tutor to teach us German.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and
that
also,
made it easier.
Yeah, and also she hired a tutor for us to learn how to speak English, because we were forgetting how to speak English because everything was in German.
Right.
And most people speak in German. And the public schools were in German. So we had to speak German. So it's funny because I think in Tagalog, and I speak English with my mom, and then but I speak German with my sisters.
Okay.
So it's like very, very confusing. So sometimes I speak 3 sentences of different languages, 3 words in a sentence with different languages.
No way. That's so cool. If you move to a new country when you're growing up, then it's kind of like the environment, you know, that determines what language you speak with your siblings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that must have really helped you learn the language. I mean, I'm sure you're perfectly fluent now.
I would say like the Germans are probably better than me, but I would say I'm okay. I will be able to go to Germany and talk at ease and converse and actually even live there as an adult.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And what kind of, I mean, like I have this idea that in the Philippines, religion is pretty important. And you grew up as a Roman Catholic.
Yes.
Was it like a big deal growing up? Did you go to church all the time?
It was a very big deal. My grandmother, bless her soul, she was very religious. She forces us to go to the church every Sunday.
Okay.
And then, I don't know, the rosary.
Yeah.
Where you...
The prayer beads, basically.
So we had one each, all of us grandchildren, and we're supposed to pray every night before we go to sleep. And we're supposed to go to church every Sunday. And also we were sent to study the Bible at a young age. So that's how serious they are in Manila, because it's predominantly Roman Catholic.
Yeah.
So I was born a Roman Catholic.
All right. And then something very interesting happened when you were 12.
Yes.
Can you tell me how you ended up embracing Islam?
Okay, so my mother remarried to a Pakistani.
Okay.
So basically that's how I came to Pakistan the first time. I was 12. Coming from Germany, of course, I came here. It was very, very different. The culture was different. The traditions are different.
Yeah.
However, as a child, I was not really into my religion.
Okay.
I always question it. I mean, respect to the religion, but I felt like it wasn't for me. So when we went to Pakistan, and we were told that we had to convert because of my stepdad.
All right.
And I automatically say yes, because when we visited the shrines here, the shrines, I asked them, is this the place where we pray? They're like, no, it's called the mosque. So there's a big difference with the shrines and the mosque.
Yeah.
So we went to Faisal Mosque, which is a beautiful, beautiful mosque in Islamabad. And I automatically felt at peace.
Wow.
Because they said that you have to believe in the religion with your heart.
Yeah.
You don't know how God looks, you don't know how the Prophet looks, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And for me, at age 12, it was such an impact that I automatically embraced the religion.
Wow. That's very interesting, because you would think like at the age of 12, you wouldn't be having so many like religious, I mean, at least if I think about myself, I wouldn't have been thinking such deep thoughts at such an early age. What do you think, like, was there already some kind of a thought process going on in the background at such a young age?
Yes, because I think it happened to me when I was 6. I was in the church, and my grandmother was like, say your prayer, but then I was studying science at that time.
Yeah.
And I studied, my teachers told me that statues are made from cement. They're man-made.
Yeah.
So I asked my grandmother, but this is man-made. Why should I pray? Da, da, da. And she goes like, no. So for me, it got really stuck in my head. And when I converted coming here, it just made sense for me. And I know I was only 12.
Yeah.
But even now, I'm having a goosebump, because I was like, it's such an awakening that not many people go through, especially for a 12-year-old, because 12-year-olds, they just play.
Yeah, they're still
play
kids.
games, watch TV. But for me, it was very profound. So that's why maybe Pakistan feels like home for me.
Right. So you found religion here. Yeah. That's amazing. So how much of a change did becoming a Muslim bring about in your life, your daily life, let's say?
I think there's a sense of purpose becoming a Muslim.
Yeah.
You know, like life can get tough sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, with work, with social activities, etc. But I think having a religion makes me grounded, and there's like a purpose in life, because I know that there is a superior being that's going to take care of me.
Right.
So for me, religion is a way of life.
So it kind of gave you this source of strength and stability, you would say, that you didn't have before.
Yes.
How much time did you have to spend on like learning all the, because there's a lot to learn about Islam, like how to, recite the prayers and all of that stuff, so many different things. How long did it take for you to learn all of that?
I think honestly right now, I would say as an adult now, I'm still learning every day. It's a never-ending quest for learning more and being more closer to your religion. So I had to learn the prayer. I was just like any other normal 12-year-old. I was sent to a place where they teach you how to pray, they teach you how to read the Quran, etc. So for me, because I was also young, it was more of like learning So I was out. I didn't think much of it, but I guess when the more I grew older,
Wow.
because you interpret the Quran based on how you are as a person.
Right.
So, and some people can interpret it the other way, some people can interpret it the other way. And sometimes you go through things in life and then you read the Quran again and then you're like, oh, this is the one that the Quran is talking about. So it's actually really, really peaceful, I would say.
And every day you discover more, I guess.
Yes, every day.
How did you feel coming from a different background and coming to Pakistan and becoming a Muslim? How did Pakistanis react to you
They
being
were
a convert?
they embraced me so much.
Yeah.
I think there was no judgment, which is very surprising for me because I was a newcomer to the religion. But I think just me saying that I'm a Muslim in the community, they just embrace you like you're one of their own. And I think it's such a common misinterpretation that about Islam, of what you read, etc. But Islam is just like a big whole community. It's like a big family.
Yeah.
So for me, I didn't need to justify why I converted. Just me saying, okay, I'm a Muslim, and they go, okay, mashallah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, have
They're
food
just
with us,
happy.
have tea with us, have biryani, da da da.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a very, very great experience. Yeah.
That's amazing. So you were 12 when you came here for the first time. You probably didn't stay for such a long time.
No, I was here
then.
for a visit.
Yeah. Then now 6-7 years ago, that must have been 2013, 14 when you moved here. How did that opportunity come about?
Coming back or
Coming back, yeah.
coming back to Pakistan, being older, I think my perspective also changed. Because I remember when I was 12, when I moved here for a few months,
Yeah.
because I had to learn the religion. For me, it's more of like a different environment, different atmosphere.
Right.
So I was always wanting to go back home to Germany because that's where home was for a 12-year-old. But now coming back as an adult, for me, I'm just like, this is a whole new experience for me.
Right.
Because things have changed in Pakistan.
Of course, it's a completely different kind of a country
It
now.
has evolved since the last time when I was 12. So there's more similarities now in Pakistan and with the Western world. So there's just so much learning to do here, so much opportunities also. I mean, even anybody can open their own businesses here.
Yeah.
And that's such a for some people, they're like, oh, so why do you choose to live in Pakistan? I was like, the opportunities are endless here.
Right.
Because there's so many things that still needs to be introduced here, so the opportunities are limitless.
Exactly.
So for me, coming back right now is more of like, okay, what can I achieve here? What can I learn here? And what can I learn more as a person and learn the country more? Because this is like second home to me now as an adult. For me now, coming back as an adult, I feel like if people ask me where you're from, I always say I'm from Pakistan.
Really? That's so cute.
It is true. It is true. It is true.
Did you have any like second thoughts about that? Were you like excited to come here, or was it like, no, like, I want to stay in Germany, I don't want to come?
No, I chose to come back here on my own because I like I said, I grew up in the Western world, so I wanted to see how it would be living in the East, being as an adult, because as an adult you get to have more control of your decision making.
Of course.
So for me, coming back to Pakistan as an adult was like more of a choice, because first I wanted to spend more time with my mother, and I wanted to like they said, I wanted to see what opportunities it can give to me.
Exactly.
So this is where actually I decided to study again in terms of psychotherapy.
All right, that's very interesting. What about your friends in Germany? What did they think when you said like, hey, I'm moving to Pakistan?
They're like, are you crazy?
Right.
You're gonna leave us? What are you gonna do there? You don't even speak the language, etc. Da, da, da. But I'm just like, it's an adventure.
Yeah.
So I told them, I'm going to keep sending you postcards, because at that time you still sent postcards.
Yeah, exactly.
Unlike now, everything's on Instagram. So I'm like, I'm going to send you postcards. And I did, I actually did. And I make sure that, you know, from the places that I visited in Pakistan, I sent it to them. It was nice though for them to say, oh, we love the photos. Write us more what your adventures are, and maybe take more photos, and maybe we'll visit you someday.
Oh, wow.
You know, even as children, that was an idea, like, we'll visit you someday.
Yeah. So it was a completely different kind of a sense that they got of the country through you.
Yeah, because I think, because I was actually loving the country on my own, so I think my excitement, you know, my vibe gave that. So they were also excited that I moved here. You know?
That's really cool. All right, we're going. Welcome back. I'm here in conversation with Sophia Arandia. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about your work. You're working as a consultant for a preschool called TLC.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about this
So
school?
TLC stands for Tender Loving Care. It's a preschool and also a daycare.
All right.
So I've worked for TLC for a long time now. So I work as a consultant. So basically my line of work is to set up preschools, develop preschools, develop the curriculum, and also train the teachers.
Right.
And then do their observation, do their assessment, so that we can actually provide a good learning experience for the preschoolers. So I always say, if I can, it's very, very important to choose the right school for your child from the age of 1 to 6, because that's where the structure is built.
Right.
When you choose a school that doesn't really, you know, cater to their well-being, the child suffers eventually moving forward to elementary, to high school, and to college.
Right.
So, you know, it makes me sad sometimes that teachers are paid so less
Here in
when
Pakistan,
it's such a big task.
Right.
It takes a lot of patience, it takes a lot of love, and it takes a lot of dedication to actually educate young children, because you know how they are.
Exactly. Do you actually work with the children yourself
Yes.
as well?
Yes.
Okay. So you're teaching them as well.
Yeah, so I'm trained to teach as well, so that's why I'm able to train the teachers too.
And this school is also based in Doha, in Qatar. Is that? I mean, who founded it? How did it come
Yeah,
about?
so I'm very proud of my boss first and foremost, because first of all, she's a woman, and she has built this preschool on her own. She established this in 2003. So it was the first preschool that provided daycare in Islamabad. Because there was such a lack of daycare for working women.
Exactly.
And the TLC actually was one of the pioneers in providing daycare.
Oh, that's amazing.
In Islamabad.
Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to mention, because, you know, here in Pakistan, it's usually like if a woman is a working mom, then they usually have their in-laws take care of the kids or something like that, like the bigger family is there. But then now when more and more people are, I guess, moving because of work, like there are people here in Islamabad who don't have their extended family here. It's becoming more and more of an issue. Do you think there are more daycares now? Is it becoming more of a thing now here in
There's
Pakistan?
a lot of daycares set up now in Islamabad, and you can find them in all the sectors of Islamabad. But then again, you have to choose the right daycare for a child.
Yeah.
Because choosing the right daycare for a child can be either positive or negative if the daycare does not really cater to the child in the right way.
Right.
Because when people think of daycare, they just think, oh, we're just going to take care of the child, put them to sleep, etc. But that's actually not correct. When you put a child in a daycare, you provide extracurricular activities to, you know, to nurture their imagination, their learning skills, how they, you know, do little tasks, you know, like pouring their own water, folding their own blanket, etc. So basically, daycare is more of providing them the practical learning skills that their working parents couldn't provide at home. So it's very, very important for parents to actually choose the right daycare, because again, the child feels abandoned if they're not being taken care of the way a parent would be, because they know once home time hits, they know the daycare children knows that they're being left behind. So we compensate for that time by providing them activities that makes them forget that we're actually here for the daycare, but we're actually learning.
Right.
So you keep them busy by giving them activities that they can learn.
Yeah. And so this preschool slash daycare is located inside the Serena Business Complex.
Yes.
Is there a particular reason why this location was chosen?
Again, Pakistan is one of the countries that has a daycare in a 5-star hotel. So Serena, of course, is a 5-star hotel.
Yeah.
So the whole idea was to provide daycare with, quality, because it also caters to most of the expats and diplomats living here, because it's right next to the embassies. So the security is very, very tough. The security is, what any expat would expect for their child to have, because it's very important for them to have that security, being expats and diplomats. So the school was placed there, and the school was set up there with the idea that secured access, but also even the people who are staying at the hotel can have a facility to drop their children in the daycare.
Oh,
so for example, I'm traveling to Islamabad, I'm here for a visit, I'm a parent, but I want to go somewhere else. I want to go for dinner, etc. So the daycare is there to also cater to the clients, to the customers of Serena Hotel.
Yeah, that's awesome. And are most of the, like you mentioned, are they mostly then expat or diplomat kids who are there at the school?
Yes.
But there are some Pakistani kids as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. And what is the thing that makes it different from other daycare centers?
So being situated in a 5-star hotel in a superb location, the whole idea of TLC was also to provide affordable, quality education for the locals, for the middle class as well. If you see the fee structure of the school, anybody can afford it.
Okay.
Everyone can afford it. But then again, just because everyone can afford it does not mean that we compromise on the quality. That the quality is such a standard that we even have our own branch in Doha.
Yeah.
The school was actually approached by the sheikhs of the Doha.
Oh, really?
And they invested, and we have a school at TLC in Doha. We have a branch there that caters again to the diplomats, to the expat community, and to the sheikhs of the country. So Pakistan is one of the first preschool that actually has a setup in Doha.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And your background is then in education. Is that what you studied?
Yes, I did. I did a bachelor's in business administration, and then I shifted to education. So basically, I came in as a consultant to set up the school and preschool and to develop it, because you have to have affiliation to cater to the expats and diplomats. And then I eventually became an educationist too by training myself, going to seminars, going to workshops, having certificates to be able to also teach and train teachers, so that I'm able to control the quality.
Okay.
Because that's what Pakistan lacks sometimes. There is no constant checking on how the teacher teaches, which becomes a domino effect. If the teacher does not teach as well, then the child will learn the same. So we have to make sure, I have to make sure that the quality is there, the curriculum is being followed, and international standards are being applied.
And how do you see the future of education and preschools in Pakistan? Where do you see it moving towards?
I think they're evolving.
Yeah.
They're evolving so much that there's tough competition now.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't say TLC has no competition, because there are many good schools out there.
Yeah.
And I think because more women in Pakistan are, venturing more to being successful on their own. So there's such a need and requirement of more available good schools out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Because now it has come to a point where your child is on the waiting list.
Really, wow.
Because they start at very young age.
Of course.
Before, a child would even go to school at the age of 1.5, and now every 1.5 child is at school.
Wow.
So there's like, I think Pakistan has evolved in a way that there's never enough schools for the children.
So then I wanted to talk about this other aspect that you're doing now. You're studying psychotherapy. How did this idea come to you that you wanted to do this?
Yeah, so 2 years ago, my father passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. So I went through my own personal process, and you know, again, losing a parent is not easy.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I had the need to process the trauma and, you know, like the need to talk it out with somebody who is not, you know, related to me.
Exactly.
So I actually attended a group therapy.
Here in Pakistan.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I didn't plan to become a psychotherapist, but then I attended a group therapy, and it felt like home. There was so much acceptance in it, and they were, after the group therapy, they asked whoever wants to join and become a psychotherapist will be giving an orientation. So I attended an orientation, and next thing you know, I signed up as a psychotherapist.
Wow. Okay. So that's really interesting. You only have a couple of months left, right,
Yes.
before you get your own license. Are you planning on actually setting up, you know, a practice here and doing this next?
That is the plan in the
Wow.
future. That is the plan in the future. But for me, I think I would want to provide mental health therapy to those who cannot afford it as much, because it's very expensive, to be honest.
Of
You know,
course.
seeing a therapist is very expensive, and I think in Pakistan there's a need for that.
Absolutely. And I mean, you know, I think mental health issues are still a bit of a taboo here. People don't really discuss them openly. How do you think this taboo could kind of be broken or gotten rid of?
I think first and foremost, the taboo can only be broken when it depends on the individual. Because I know when I was told that I have to see a therapist because of my course, I was actually very, very skeptical.
Right.
But then you have to have an open mind, because psychotherapy is more about talk therapy, where you actually release all what is bothering you inside. You want to process what's going on. You want to understand. I just want to add there that there's nothing wrong with you when you go to a therapy.
Yeah.
It's more of like talking to a friend. But then when you talk to a friend, you can be judged. But as opposed to a therapist, there's a whole boundary. So I think for Pakistan to be evolving in that way, there needs to be more discussion, forum, conversation that it is okay to go to therapy.
Yeah.
And I think lately there's a rise of youth and even adults going to therapy more, and I think like even my neighbor is a therapist,
Okay.
is a psychotherapist. So I think everybody is slowly moving forward to the fact that we need therapy, that we can see therapists, and it's nothing to be ashamed about.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think how that can be evolved is where, you know, in A levels, high school, college, I think there should be a discussion that it is okay to see one.
Yeah, exactly.
And in Pakistan, I think there's a lack of school counselors in schools.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think that sets a precedent that you can talk to the school counselor, and the school counselor can also, as you progress, the school counselor is also a therapist, and there's nothing to be ashamed about it. So I think schools and college, it starts at the youth, it starts at a young age, where you discuss that it's okay, if you have any troubles, talk to somebody, here's a school counselor. So when you evolve as an adult, it's okay for you to say, okay, I'm no longer in schools, I'm gonna look for a therapist to talk to.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's like, it doesn't mean that you have some huge mental health illness
That's
if you
a
go to
common
therapy,
misconception.
right?
That's a common misconception that, oh, are you seeing a therapist because there's something wrong with you? No, there's nothing wrong with you. Sometimes there's just stress at work.
Exactly.
Sometimes there was a trauma, like, you know, losing a parent, and you want to talk about it, or something that you remembered as a child. So it's more of like processing the mind on the things that you still think about and you talk about.
Yeah.
And then you make sense out of it.
Welcome back. I'm here in conversation with Sophia Arandia. So you've spent quite a few years here now, and you've pretty much gotten to know the country quite well by now. But how much of the country have you actually seen? How much have you managed to travel here?
I still have to see a lot.
Yeah.
But I've been to Karachi. I've been to Lahore. I've been to Nathia Gali.
All right.
I've been to Swat.
Okay, wow.
I've been to Murray, if that counts.
Yeah,
I've been there.
It does count.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have a favorite trip that you like to remember? Something fun that happened on one of your trips?
Yes, I clearly remember this. I think it was 2 years ago with my expat friends. So we were all expats. We went to Lahore.
Okay.
We went to see the Badshah Mosque.
That's really nice, by the way.
But my favorite part traveling in Pakistan was when I was at the Waka border in Lahore.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's pretty impressive, by the way. Like
I'm still smiling thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you like the most about it?
So I was always interested, and I was always captivated the fact that the border separates India and Pakistan.
Yeah.
Like it's just one walk away,
Exactly.
and there's like Indians sitting here in this border and Pakistanis sitting here in the border, and the whole atmosphere was just like I still have goosebumps talking about it, because I was like, what's so special about this? And then first of all, they have the marching ceremony from the Pakistani side and from the Indian side, and I've never seen men kicking their legs so high up in the air. Like, you know, it's like, how do they even do that?
Yeah.
And then I keep asking my friends, so when are they going to open the gate for the border? They're like, you wait. And I think at that moment when the gate opened,
yeah, that's unreal. You're like, oh my God, like now there's no border.
Yes, and I turn around and I see the next border with the Indians and the Pakistanis here. And for me to see the Indians waving so excitedly at us, and I kept waving back, and for a brief moment, I forgot that I was not even Pakistani.
Yeah.
I just kept waving. I was like, oh my God, this feels like history in the making.
Exactly.
To see Indians right there and Pakistanis right here waving at each other. It's such a beautiful moment because of their history. And then it just reminded us, even me as an expat, that there's still so much love between.
Yeah, despite everything, there is a common past and culture and
so
everything.
for me, that's very memorable. And when I talk about it, I still have goosebumps, because it's such a humbling feeling to experience that. And I'm just so grateful that I was able to see that, because, you know, maybe one day they'll stop the Waka border ceremony, but for me, I was like, okay, this is something that I would actually cherish for my life. So that's very memorable for me, the Waka border.
Okay. And you also mentioned you went to Swat Valley.
Yes.
How was that?
We went by car.
Okay. I've heard the road is kind of an experience, I would say.
Yes, especially we were sitting next to the windows, so it keeps turning, so you're thinking, I'm gonna plunge into my death, because the car really goes like that.
So it's very narrow and like a mountain kind of.
And there's no other way, I believe. You have to go through car. And I think it was one of the most quietest place that I've been to. Really? The air is different. The breeze is different, and I went there during summer, but try to dip your toes on the streaming river next to the mountain area, and it's the coldest water that you'll ever feel. And to be more adventurous, I actually drank from the same stream of river.
You did?
Where people were dipping their feet.
Oh, okay, wow.
Because they said it's very, very clean. It's a mountain water.
It's a mountain stream, so it would
just have it. So I drank that, and surprisingly, my tummy was fine.
Yeah.
So for me, it was very... It was different, it was adventurous, but it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
But you have to be brave on that road, because it's very, very dangerous to the road.
I'm sure.
Because, you know, it's really very, very narrow. But it's worth it.
It's worth the trip. Wow. I should definitely go there.
You should.
Do you have any places that you're still hoping to visit? Any like up north or somewhere south?
I've always wanted to visit Hunza.
Yeah, that's a big one for everyone. I still haven't managed myself.
And I heard, if I'm correct, the the Karimabad Lake. I don't know what it's.
Attabad
Yes.
Lake, I think. Yeah.
So sorry. So the lake I heard is very, very green.
Yeah. It looks like out of this world.
And I've seen photos, and it looks like it looks amazing. Like it's like green ice,
Yeah.
you know, under the sunlight. It's like something that is from a movie.
Exactly.
Or better than movies, and you know, it's amazing that Pakistan even has those areas, because you know, we only think that they have the mosque, etc.
Yeah.
But Pakistan is like, I would call it like Switzerland in the east,
Yeah.
because they have a lot of mountain area,
Exactly.
they have a lot of places, they have snow, they have the K2 is where you can also come here and do that. So
Exactly.
there's
You
a
can
lot
do
of
everything.
and I hope the tourism in Pakistan really blooms, because there's so much places that you can visit here.
And hopefully once this corona thing is
Yes.
over, maybe some of your friends from Germany will finally
Yes.
come and visit you,
Hopefully,
right?
hopefully. I'll take them straight away to the Hunza.
Yeah, exactly. So what about the big cities of Pakistan? I mean, you've only lived in Islamabad. You've never lived anywhere else.
Yeah.
But obviously you've said you visited them. How would you compare living in, I mean, do you prefer to live in Islamabad, or would you like to live somewhere else?
I think I prefer to live in Islamabad because that's why I moved here, because I was working in Malaysia and Singapore before I came here.
Okay.
So you know, living in the capital. So there's lots of skyscrapers. There's a lot of
Big
a lot
cities,
of trams. There's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of pollution, and I think that's why I chose to move to Islamabad, because it's a city, but still suburbs enough that you can actually travel easily. Because I hate traffic.
Yeah.
And I dislike skyscrapers.
Oh, really? Any particular reason?
Yes, because you cut trees to do that.
That's true.
You cut a lot of trees to do that, and then there's more pollution. And I think Islamabad is what makes it a great city, because they preserve the nature.
Exactly. I mean, look at this. We're just surrounded by these amazing Margala hills here.
This is why it's one of my favorite places, because it's still so intact as it used to be many, many years ago.
Exactly. Hopefully it stays that way too.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
So another thing that I always like to ask my guests is the food. I don't know a lot about Filipino food. How is that compared to Pakistani food? Is it as spicy? Or?
Okay, so Philippines was colonized by the Spanish people for 300 years. So we have adapted the Spanish culture in terms of food.
Alright.
So everything that you find in Spain, you find it in Philippines.
Okay.
So you know, all those arroz caldo, all those Spanish food, we have adopted that. So it's very different as compared to Pakistanis, because we don't eat much chili in Philippines, or spices.
Right, that's actually interesting, because I always had this sense that in that direction, you know, you have Indonesian food and Malaysian, that is still spicy, right?
We do
But it's
have a
different.
lot of, you know, we do have a lot of Indonesian and Malaysian mixture in our cuisine, but it's more of Spanish, because you know,
of the history.
of the history, but not necessarily chili. Again, it depends on the region where you live.
Right.
But it's very, very different, because in Pakistan, the Pakistani cuisine, you have to cook it with love, because it takes some time.
It does, yeah.
It takes some time, as opposed to Filipino cuisine, it's quicker. Usually it's seafood, because you know, it's an island.
Yeah,
So we have a lot
that
of
makes
seafood,
sense.
we have a lot of barbecue. Our food cooks within 20 minutes. And we eat a lot of rice.
Yeah.
And that too, just boiled rice. But in Pakistan, when you say I'm cooking, you know that the person is going to spend time and patience and dedication to cook for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Pakistani dish?
Yes, I do.
Yeah?
I do. There's a lot, but I do. I know what it is. It's biryani.
All right. I think I would say biryani as well if I was asked, yeah.
So the biryani, why is it so special to me? Because it brings me also back to my childhood.
Okay. Yeah.
And also there's a saying that even your enemy would forgive you if you feed them biryani.
I've never heard that.
That's what they say, because I know if I say let's have biryani, they'll be like, okay, let's forget about what's happened between us, let's have biryani. So
Aw, that's nice.
It's a food of love, I think. It's a comfort,
It's a comfort food,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, it's like
The ultimate Pakistani comfort food.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what kind of food do you usually eat here? Do you cook yourself or do you go out?
I love to cook. I love to cook for my friends. I rarely go out, but if I do, it's because I want to have a certain cuisine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's very easy to find in Islamabad. There's so many new restaurants here. Like if I compare this Islamabad to what I saw in 2012, it's so different,
There's
right?
like lots and lots of restaurant that has recently opened up.
Yeah.
And there's even Korean, there's Japanese, there's Turkish. There's a lot to choose from, which makes it more enjoyable now to go out and actually have...
It's actually more variety,
Yes,
more places
yes,
to choose
yes.
from.
Yeah.
Yeah. But people often say that, you know, Islamabad is not, I mean, it's not exactly known as the food city of Pakistan. What do you think about that?
Partially true.
Yeah.
I guess, partially true. I think Karachi has very, very good food.
Yeah.
And again, their biryani is more different because it really goes back to old times. So they say, the Karachi people told me when I was there, you have to have biryani because you'll have a taste of history.
Yeah. Wow.
With their biryani. And it's so poetic and it's so profound that I always quote that because it's really true. Their biryani is very, very different as opposed to the biryani here.
Yeah, that's true. And of course, Lahore has a whole different food culture as well, the whole Punjabi cuisine.
Yeah. I think Lahore wins hands down.
Yeah?
Yeah. Especially their pie.
Yeah.
Have you had pie before?
Yes, I have.
I really love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. So you've mentioned your friends several times during this interview. Are most of your friends expats or Pakistanis?
So it's a mixture of both. I think because, you know, Pakistan is second home to me.
Yeah.
So I have very, very close and old-time friends who I have known when I was 18, when I was 19. And I have both. And I think Pakistan is one of the countries where you can actually build good friendships.
Yeah.
Because everybody is here away from their home and you connect on more deeper levels. You can go hike in the mountain hills here, or you can have, you know, cook off at your house, or go to the cinema, or go to the park and jog. So because again, Islamabad is a city, but still subtle enough so you get to focus on developing and, you know, nurturing your friendships. So I have both. I have mainly expat friends and Pakistani friends, but then again, having friends who are expats is also very heartbreaking sometimes because they come and go.
They leave. Exactly. So it's important to have your Pakistani circle as well.
To fill that space.
Yeah. All right. Okay, then it's time for the rapid fire round. Are you ready?
I'm excited.
Okay. Shalwar kameez or Western clothes?
Western clothes.
Okay. Lahore or Karachi?
Lahore.
All right. Sushi or biryani?
Biryani.
All right. Hamburg or Islamabad?
It's a tough one. Let's say Islamabad.
Okay. The best kept secret about Pakistan?
The best kept secret about Pakistan, the people are very, very kind.
Yeah. First thought that comes to your mind when I say Swat Valley?
Heaven.
Wow.
True.
Sea view in Karachi?
Calm.
Wagah border?
Goosebumps.
Really?
Yeah, goosebumps.
Your favorite word in Urdu?
Inshallah.
Good one. First thought that comes to your mind when I say Pakistani weddings?
Lavish.
True.
Lavish.
Very true. And the best thing about Pakistan?
The people.
Great. Okay, then you get to sign our visitors
I would
book.
love to.
Here you go.
That's it.
Okay, let's see what you wrote. Thank you for this wonderful interview. It made me relive my childhood, the reasons why I love the country and why it feels home. You have been an amazing host.
You have been.
You've been an amazing guest.
Thank you so much. I feel so
much.
comfortable right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and such an interesting conversation.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's it for today, and please join me again next week, and don't forget to follow us on our social media accounts at indus.news. Stay home, stay safe, goodbye.